Hi, I am Jose Antonio Barrera Bojorquez. I go by Tony, and today I'm going to talk a little about my life story and my life experiences and how those relate to different concepts in communication. So I was born in Mexico, but when I was about 6 months old, my family and I moved to the U.S. And growing up here, I can say was interesting because I grew up being a part of two different worlds, a world and a culture that I had at home, and a world and a culture that I had outside of home. So growing up, I can say that I was culturally confused because I wasn't sure to which world I belonged to and to which world I want to be a part of because I was taught certain values and ideas at home, and I was taught something else outside of home. So that changed though when I moved back to Mexico. When I was 11 years old, my whole family and I decided to move back. And suddenly, that small portion of world that I had at home became the whole world around me. And during the 6 years that I was there and that I adapted to that culture and that world, I learned to adopt both cultures as my own. I realized that there was no reason for me to have to choose between one world or another. And realizing this and adopting these cultures contributed to the development of my self concept. Realizing that I was a Hispanic American and that I was part of these two worlds and that it was great. Yeah, so during that time, we moved around a lot. So I had to kept asking myself the question of who I was because I had to reintroduce myself to new people and make new friends. So developing my self concept and having a high self esteem of myself helped me establish relationships. Finding people that accepted me for who I was and that made me feel great about myself. So yeah, I can say that the friendships I have made over time have contributed to the image I have of myself and how I view myself. Something that has greatly impacted my self concept and my self esteem, as well as just my relationship with God. I grew up in a Christian household, and throughout my life, adopting this Christian identity as my own has influenced how I view myself. Knowing who I am and how God perceives me and how I should perceive myself in that sense. I've always looked for affirmation in people, but by adapting this Christian identity, I have learned to look for affirmation in God, and this has helped boost up my self esteem as well, and just have a clear idea of who I am. Uh, as well as I identify as responsible. I consider myself responsible for. I have always looked for leadership positions. When I was in middle school, was class president as well as in high school, and now I'm an RA. So having these leadership roles have also help construct my identity as a leader that I consider myself, and therefore my self esteem of being able to feel confident in leading other people around me. And throughout my life, I've also just learned about different things that I enjoy, that I like to do. I'm passionate for writing. I want to be a writer, a journalist one day. So just finding people with similar interests that love to go to coffee shops and as well that love nature and love camping, jumping, all that, just like me. It's helped me find people that I'm comfortable with. And all this throughout my whole life, just learning all these different things about my faith, about my culture, about my interests, have influenced how I perceive the world around me and how I perceive the people around me, and therefore that has influenced a lot in how I communicate with people. Learning to accept all kinds of people and being able to value different cultures and different ideas and different faiths, and through that, just learning to have great relationships and great conversations with everyone around me. So, thank you.